Hi everyone, hope you're well. So I asked you to send me questions for a Q&A video and I'm surprised I actually did get quite a few questions. I didn't really expect to get any at all, or not enough to make a video at least, but I do. So thank you very much for sending them. And let's get right into it. There's quite a few, so it could be a fairly long video, but here we go. So first one is from Rena K, and she says, how disappointed were you that Eurovision was cancelled this year? It looked like it was going to be Iceland's year. Think About Things seemed to have everything it needed to win. I agree, you're right. It did seem to be likely to be Iceland's year. It was such a popular song. It went viral everywhere. But yeah, of course, like everyone, I was very disappointed to hear it was cancelled. I think even though in the days leading up to the official announcement, I think we all kind of knew it was going to happen, but we just didn't really want to admit it. And then when we had the official announcement that it was cancelled, that was when it really sort of got to you. It was like, okay, it really is cancelled. And it, such a big event to be cancelled for the first time in 64 years, to a non-fan of Eurovision, it wouldn't really mean that much to them, but to the fans, it's quite a big deal, for the first time ever, it was cancelled. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal. And the quality, the standard of the year, it was such a good year. We had Iceland, which was, we know how popular that was. I don't think any song has gone viral ever as much as that. All the TikTok videos. It actually got to the charts in the UK. I think it's the first Eurovision song since Euphoria to chart in the UK. Celebrities were talking about it. Yeah, it was just, like you say, it did look good for Iceland this year, but I'll talk about that a bit later on. And there were not just Iceland, but there were other songs that I really liked this year that I was looking forward to seeing on the stage. And it's a shame, obviously, not just for the fans, but for the artists as well, because as we know, some of them are not coming back, and to the people who are coming back, they're put under pressure now to come up with another good song to do well again. If you think of like John's Tears from Switzerland, Victoria from Bulgaria, they were both favourites to win as well as Iceland, and now they have to come up with something just as good or better than their 2020 song. So yeah, that's going to be hard to beat. And yeah, obviously as well, I'm disappointed because I was supposed to be going to Rotterdam for the first time, as you probably know. I didn't have tickets for the show, but it would have been my first time going to the host city for Eurovision, so that's annoying. But hopefully, if it does go ahead, I can go next year. All we need really is for Corona to go away. Just, go away. Nobody likes you. Leave us alone. So yeah, it's disappointing in a lot of different ways because of how good the songs were. Obviously, the artists, some of them are going back, but some of them haven't. They don't know yet, and some of them we know are not coming back. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have a fairly normal Eurovision next year. So yeah, that was that question. Thank you for that. And now I have quite a few questions from Rhys Chambers, who is also going to be doing his own Q&A video soon. So the first one, when did you start watching the contest? So my first proper memory of watching it would be the year that Lordi won Hard Rock Hallelujah. So I would have been 11? No, actually 10. I would have been 10, almost 11. So before then, I probably did watch it with my family, but maybe I was too young to really know what was going on. So 2006, that was the first year that I remember properly watching it. But this is a fun fact that I don't think I've mentioned in my videos before. I didn't actually start watching the semi-finals and becoming a proper fan of Eurovision until about 2014-15. And I think it's the growth of, social media, YouTube, wee wee blogs. I think that helped with that. What's your favourite British entry? Well, of all time, I think it would be Making Your Mind Up by Bucks-Fizz, definitely. It's just a timeless classic, really. It's a worthy winner. But in terms of more recent years, like in the past decade, I think it would be I Can by Blue, 2011. And we actually did quite well that year. We came 11th, which for us is quite good for the UK. So I think we need to get back to that standard, really. Which country do you always support or have a soft spot for? Well, one of my favourite countries in Eurovision is definitely Norway. I normally like their entries. I like a lot of Norwegian entries, and the national final, Melody Grand Prix, is one of my favourite national finals to watch. I just always look forward to what Norway have to offer. And I like Ukraine as well. They have quite interesting entries. Here we go. This is the ultimate question that we're all thinking about. Who would have won this year? So obviously, going back to Iceland, I think we all know that Iceland was very likely to win. It was so popular beforehand. It had gone viral more than any other Eurovision song before. So I know they weren't the bookies' favourite to win, but they would have probably won maybe the public vote. And I think it's likely that they would have won, but at the same time, a lot of people have said Iceland, without a doubt, would have won this year. But I don't want to say that they definitely would have won, because I think it's important to remember there are other options. I think that the other potential winners were Switzerland and maybe Bulgaria, but definitely Switzerland. The Pont des Moi, I mean, I love the song personally, but I do think it had like a winner vibe to it. I wouldn't be surprised if Iceland almost won, but maybe somebody else by a few points might have just snatched the trophy. Yeah, so I don't want to say definitely Iceland, but I think that the possibilities were Iceland, definitely Switzerland, maybe Bulgaria, even though I didn't really like Bulgaria's entry personally. But tell me what you think. Tell me who you think genuinely would have won. Which city that has never hosted before would you like to see host? Again, I think going back to Iceland, Reykjavik, it'd be great to have it in Iceland, just to see how they would do it, what sort of show they would put on, and I would just love to go to Iceland. It's top of my bucket list, definitely. If the UK hosted again, where do you think it would be? Well, it would be great to have the UK win again in my lifetime. Don't think it will happen anytime soon. But if they did win, I think because they haven't won in a while, I think they would just go back to London and just do it in Wembley or the O2. I think that's what they would do. And I would definitely go. How would you feel about a Welsh language entry being from Wales? Um, yeah, being from Wales, how would you feel about a Welsh language entry? It's quite difficult because you've got Junior Eurovision, and they have Wales have joined 2 years ago, which I think is great, and it's great to see people getting engaged in the Welsh language and reacting quite positively to it as well. But in terms of the general Eurovision, I think it is best to keep it in English because it would just complicate things, and English is the main language of the UK, so I understand why it's always been in English. I mean, it would be nice to see a Welsh language song because Welsh music, Welsh in songs does sound really nice, and I think people would like it as well, but I'm not really expecting the UK to bring out a Welsh language entry, really. But it's great that Junior Eurovision has got that. I think that's great. It's quite an interesting question. Do you tend to prefer national final winners or internally selected entries? So I think I would need to have a proper think about this because at the top of my head I can't really think of an answer. I don't think I do tend to sway towards one or the other. I think I've got songs that I love that were from national finals, and there's internal songs that I love. So I think I would have to think about it and weigh up the options. But from the top of my head, if I had to answer now, internal entries do tend to be quite good. So maybe internal, but again, I really have to think about that because I don't know. It's a good question though. Have you followed the careers of any artists since they appeared in the contest? I have, yeah. I think the main one would be Loic Gauthier from Belgium. I think that he deserves to be more well known than he actually is in a more wider area outside of Europe, like in the UK as well, because he's really talented. He brought an album out a few years ago, which is really good. So yeah, Loic is good, and Lena as well. I listened to some of her songs. Duncan Lawrence, Mahmood from Italy last year, and this year I have been following a lot of the artists from 2020 as well. Favourite national final song that never went to Eurovision? Well, the first one I can think of is actually from this year, and it's from Albania's national final. There's a song called Mi Tanga. Yeah, Mi Tanga. I think Elvana was the singer, and it was a really quite an upbeat song, and it was quite popular as well. I think it was expected to win, but Albania went for the typical Albanian female ballad, and I think not picking Mi Tanga was a missed opportunity because it was just something different for Albania. I think it would have done quite well in Eurovision, but they just went for the same old thing again, so that was a shame. And also, there's a song from Latvia's national final in 2018 called Younger Days by Edgar's Kralish. I like that song as well. That's on my playlist. There might be a few others, but I can't really think at the moment. Okay, what's your opinion on Graham Norton? I think he's great as a commentator. I love him. He's hilarious. I love what he comes out with. I love his one-liners. I always look forward to them. Obviously, I know he can be very sarcastic, but I think he he does care about the contest, I think. And if there is a good song, then he wouldn't be like critical towards it. If it's a good song, he'll recognise it's a good song. But he does make a few jokes about the more joke entries. But yeah, I love him. I think he's great. Although I think some of his music taste is a little bit weird. Like in the Shine a Light show on the night of the grand final, he said something about Ireland, and he said about how she was likely to win, and we were like, Ireland? No, I don't think Ireland were going to win, Graham. And then he said about like Estonia's song was really good. Spain was one of like the fan favourites, and it's like, where are you getting that from? That's not what people think. So some of his actual taste in music is a bit questionable, but as a commentator, I love him. I do think though that if he wanted to leave at any point, I think Rylan Clark should take over from him, because I think Rylan is like more of a fan of Eurovision, but I love them both. What country do you see becoming a force over the next decade? So Russia and Sweden have stayed strong, and Bulgaria and Cyprus are coming along well. Well, I agree with what you said about Bulgaria and Cyprus. I think they are the countries that are really starting to do well over the past few years, really trying to win. Especially Bulgaria. I think Bulgaria really want to win. So yeah, I agree with you, Bulgaria and Cyprus, and maybe Malta as well if they keep up the way that they're going, and actually Australia as well. They always seem to know what they're doing. Most overrated and underrated song, in your opinion? Well, yeah, I mean, it is down to opinion, really, isn't it? In my opinion, one of the most overrated songs in terms of how well it did would be If I Was Sorry by Sweden in 2016, because I think it came fifth. Yeah, it came fifth. And I just don't know why. And I just can't believe how well it did. Like, how could that come fifth? I don't get that. I mean, I think there's probably more that I have, but I just can't think of them all. This year, I did find Romania's song overrated. I didn't really get the hype over that. Most underrated song. Again, I think I need more time to think about it. I've probably got more than one answer. I think, again, it's a personal opinion, but Joust from Norway, 2017, they came 10th, which is good, you know, they got a good result, but in terms of the fandom, I think that song is quite underrated with fans. Like, I love Grab the Moment, one of my favourite songs, but nobody seems to talk about it. Like, the fans don't really seem to talk about that song, but I love it. Do you think, oh, this is a really good question, I love this question. Do you think next year it will be a brand new artist or a 2020 returning artist that will end up being the winner? Very good question. So, we know so far 18 of the 41 acts have been confirmed to come back. I think there'll definitely be a lot more that will come back, probably more than half. Not all of them, we know it won't be all of them anyway, but I think as many as they can will come back, which I think is the right thing to do. So far, 2 of the acts that are coming back are Jean's Tears from Switzerland, one of my favourites this year, and Victoria from Bulgaria. And like I said before, they were, as well as Iceland, they were the two other favourites and the two other potential winners, I think. So if they can come up with something as good as 2020, especially John from Switzerland, I can just see him as being a winner. I don't know why, it's just something about him. Répondez-moi had a winner vibe to it, I think. I think if he can do even better than that, then I think he could be on to a winner. But obviously, that's only 18 acts so far. We need to find out who else will be confirmed and who all the acts are, really. Right, so that was all the questions from Reese, so thank you for that, Reese. Moving on to Fran Valiente. If Eurovision hadn't been cancelled this year, who were you going to go with? Well, I was going with my best friends Jack and James. Jack I've known since I was about 11 years old, and we are like best friends. He is not like a hardcore fan as me, but he is getting a lot more involved in Eurovision over the past few years. He loves Fuego, Replay. He wanted Iceland to win this year, and James has only really started watching it over the past 2 years, but he's getting into it more as well. So if it does go ahead next year, then we can go again together next year. Oh, and by the way, my friend Jack, he has an EP out. He's released his first ever EP called Aquarius, and I'll put the link to that from Spotify in the comments below so you can listen to it and check it out. So, it's a long video. Not long to go now. Right, Gemini 365. So, favourite year in the contest. I haven't really got a proper answer to that. I'll have to give like more than 1 year, because I feel like everything after 2014-15 was just really good. Like the past 5 years have been equally as good as each other. So my favourite year would be anything within the past 5 years, really. Maybe 2016 or 8 or even 19. Yeah, either 2016, 2018 or 2019. Favourite song that didn't make the final. I can think of 2 at least. First one is Na Inat by Polygenova, Bulgaria, 2011. Didn't make the final, but it's one of my favourite, well no, it is my favourite Bulgarian entry ever. I love that song. And the other one is back in 2015. I was a big fan of Iceland, Unbroken by Maria Olaf. I can see why it didn't qualify, but I do still really like the song. But apart from that, I normally agree with the songs that make it to the final. Normally I think they are the right songs to go through. So thank you for that, Gemini. Moving on to Marcus. If you could let one country that has never participated before join the contest, what country would you choose? It depends if you mean a European country, or do you mean opening it up to be like world vision and letting more countries in? To be honest, I would just let Turkey come back. I know that doesn't really answer the question, but I wouldn't think of a new country. I would just bring Turkey back. That's what I would do. Yeah, that's all I can think of, really. I can't think of another European country that isn't in Eurovision that has been in it before. Yeah, I'll just say bring Turkey back. Oh, right, okay. Last question. It's actually from Twitter, not from YouTube, from Samuel. If you could have attended any contest in the past, which would you choose? I think I would have liked to be in 2016 in Stockholm, because I think the whole show as a whole was just really good. Like the hosting, the Justin Timberlake as the interval act was really good. It was the first year where they had the new voting system. The songs were quite good too, and I would just love to go to Stockholm. I'd really love to go to Sweden, especially Stockholm. So yeah, that would be a great holiday, great few days. And obviously, yeah, I was meant to be going to Rotterdam this year, probably watching it in some sort of outdoor public screen or something. But hopefully next year, if it goes ahead. So yeah, I think that is everything, yeah. So there we go, that was fun. I liked doing that, and I'm glad that you did actually send me questions. Maybe I can do another one, not straight away, but in a few months or in a year, maybe, and answer some more different questions. But thank you for watching. Hope my answers were okay. Hope they were enough. And yeah, again, thank you for sending them. And I will see you soon. Bye, everyone. Bye.